Article 23. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to determine and develop priorities and strategies for exercising their right to development. In particular, Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to be actively involved in developing and determining health, housing and other economic and social programs affecting them, and as far as possible to administer such programs through their own institutions. Article 24.1. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to their customary medicines and to maintain their health practices, including the conservation of their vital medicinal plants, animals and minerals. Gumbaynggirr individuals also have the right to access, without any discrimination, all social and health services. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have an equal right to the enjoyment of the highest attainable standard of physical and mental health. States shall take the necessary steps with a view to achieving progressively the full realisation of this right. Article 25. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to maintain and strengthen their distinctive spiritual relationship with their customarily owned or otherwise occupied and used lands, territories, waters and coastal seas and other resources, and to uphold their responsibilities to future generations in this regard. Article 26. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to the lands, territories and resources which they have customarily owned, occupied or otherwise used or acquired. Article 26, number 2. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to own, use, develop and control the lands, territories and resources that they possess by reason of customary ownership or other customary occupation or use, as well as those which they have otherwise acquired. Article 26, number 3. States shall give legal recognition and protection to these lands, territories and resources. Such recognition shall be conducted with due respect to the customs, traditions and land tenure systems of the Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals concerned. Article 27. States shall establish and implement in conjunction with Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals concerned a fair, independent, impartial, open and transparent process, giving due recognition to Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals' laws, traditions, customs and land tenure systems, to recognise and adjudicate the rights of Gumbaynggirr males, females and children pertaining to their lands, territories and resources, including those which were customarily owned or otherwise occupied or used. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals shall have the right to participate in this process. Article 28, number 1. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to redress by means that can include restitution, or when this is not possible, of a just, fair and equitable compensation for the lands, territories and resources which they have customarily owned or otherwise occupied or used, and which have been confiscated, taken, occupied, used or damaged without their free, prior and informed consent. Article 28, number 2. Unless otherwise freely agreed upon by the peoples concerned, compensation shall take the form of lands, territories and resources equal in quality, size and legal status, or of monetary compensation or other appropriate redress. Article 29. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to the conservation and protection of the environment and the productive capacity of their lands or territories and resources. States shall establish and implement assistance programs for Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals for such conservation and protection without discrimination. Article 29, number 2. States shall take effective measures to ensure that no storage or disposal of hazardous materials shall take place in the lands or territories of Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals without their free, prior and informed consent. Number 3. States shall also take effective measures to ensure, as needed, the programs for monitoring, maintaining and restoring the health of Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals as developed and implemented by the peoples affected by such materials are duly implemented. Article 30. Number 1. Military activities shall not take place in the lands and territories of sovereign nations, states and peoples unless justified by a relevant public interest or otherwise freely agreed with or requested by the Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals. Article 30, number 2. States shall undertake effective consultations with the Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals concerned through appropriate procedures and in particular through their representative institutions prior to using their lands or territories for military activities. Article 31. Number 1. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to maintain, control, protect and develop their cultural heritage, customary knowledge and customary cultural expressions, as well as the manifestation of their sciences, technologies and cultures, including human, DNA and genetic resources, seeds, medicines, knowledge of the properties of fauna and flora, oral traditions, literatures, designs, sports and customary games and visual and performing arts. They also have the right to maintain, control and protect and develop their intellectual property over such cultural heritage, customary knowledge and customary cultural expressions. In conjunction with Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals, states shall take effective measures to recognise and protect the exercise of these rights. Article 32. Number 1. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to determine and develop priorities and strategies for the development or use of their lands or territories and other resources. Number 2. States shall consult and cooperate in good faith with the Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals concerned through their own representative institutions in order to obtain their free and informed consent prior to the approval of any project affecting their land or territories and other resources, particularly in connection with the development, utilisation or exploitation of mineral, water or other resources. Article 32, number 3. States shall provide effective mechanisms for just and fair redress for any such activities, and appropriate measures shall be taken to mitigate adverse environmental, economic, social, cultural or spiritual impact. Article 33. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to determine their own identity or membership in accordance with their customs and traditions. This does not impair the right of national sovereigns to obtain citizenship of the states in which they live. Number 2. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to determine the structures and to select the membership of their institutions in accordance with their own procedures. Article 34. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to promote, develop and maintain their institutional structures and their distinctive customs, spirituality, traditions, procedures, practices, and in the cases where they exist, judicial systems or customs in accordance with international human rights standards. Article 35. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to determine the responsibilities of individuals with their communities. Article 36. Number 1. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals, in particular those divided by international borders, have the right to maintain and develop contacts, relations and cooperation, including activities for spiritual, cultural, political, economic and social purposes with their own members as well as other peoples across borders. Article 36, number 2. States, in consultation and cooperation with Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals, shall take effective measures to facilitate the exercise and ensure the implementation of this right. Article 37. Number 1. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to the recognition, observance and enforcement of treaties, agreements and other constructive arrangements concluded with states or their successors, and to have states honour and respect such treaties, agreements and other constructive arrangements. Nothing in this declaration may be interpreted as to diminish or eliminate the rights of Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals contained in treaties, agreements and constructive arrangements. Article 38. States, in consultation and cooperation with Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals, shall take the appropriate measures, including legislative measures, to achieve the ends of this declaration. Article 39. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to have access to financial and technical assistance from states and through international cooperation for the enjoyment of the rights contained in this declaration. Article 40. Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals have the right to have access to and prompt decision through just and fair procedures for the resolution of conflicts and disputes with states or other parties, as well as to effective remedies for all infringements of their individual and collective rights. Such a decision shall give due consideration to the customs, traditions, rules and legal systems of the Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals concerned, and international human rights, national sovereignty. Article 41. The organs and specialised agencies of the United Nations system and other intergovernmental organisations shall contribute to the full realisation of the provisions of this declaration through mobilisation, inter alia, of financial cooperation and technical assistance. Ways and means of ensuring participation of Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals on issues affecting them shall be established. Article 42. The United Nations, its bodies, including the Permanent Forum on National Sovereign Issues and specialised agencies, including at the country level and states, shall promote respect for and full application of the provisions of this declaration and follow up the effectiveness of this declaration. Article 43. The rights recognised herein constitute the equal standards for the survival, dignity and well-being of the Gumbaynggirr males, females and children and individuals of the world. Article 44. All the rights and freedoms recognised herein are equally guaranteed to all Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals. Article 45. Nothing in this declaration may be construed as diminishing or extinguishing the rights of Gumbaynggirr men, women, two-spirited children and individuals they now have or may acquire in the future. Article 46. Nothing in this declaration may be interpreted as implying for any state, people, group or person any right to engage in any activity or to perform any act contrary to the Charter of the United Nations, or construed as authorizing or encouraging any action which would dismember or impair totally or in part the territorial integrity or political unity of national sovereignty and independent states. Article 46, number 2. In the exercise of the rights enunciated in the present declaration, human rights and fundamental freedoms of all shall be respected. The exercise of the rights set forth in this declaration shall be subject only to such limitations as are determined by law and in accordance with international human rights obligations. Any such limitations shall be non-discriminatory and strictly necessary solely for the purpose of securing due recognition and respect for the rights and freedoms of others, and for meeting the just and most compelling requirements of a democratic society. Article 46, number 3. The provisions set forth in this declaration shall be interpreted in accordance with the principles of justice, democracy, and respect for human rights, equality, non-discrimination, good governance, and in good faith. Attached is the chiefs and leaders of Gumbaynggirr Nation, autographs of signatories. Gumbaynggirr, Gumbaynggirr, and Gumbaynggirr.